I'm Ajas and welcome back to another stream from Hala Justice. Today actually it's my like one of the favorite streams because we're going to be talking about something new today, um, shader graphs. And I'm fairly new to shader graphs, but I've had some time to practice, and I'm going to use this opportunity to show you the importance of shader graphs and how important shader graph is for your games, for your for your game to visually look good. So first part of the stream, I'll be doing shader graphs. I'll show you how I created some of the effects for our game, and in the next part, Fadi will take over and he will show you the level design and some of the things that we have developed to increase the difficulty of the level. So keeping that in mind, let's get going. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and so first things first, I'll show you some of the things that I've already done with the shader graph, including a portal that we have created for our game, and I also have done a hot zone particle effect for our. So if I go ahead and play the game right now, um, so you can see. Let me just maximize that for. So you can see the portal right here. It looks really cool. It has that glowing effect, and it even has that small particles in it. And here for our enemy, I've created like a hot zone. So it's like an area of ticking damage. If the player gets into that area, the player will take the ticking damage. So if I go in right now, you can see that my health keeps on decreasing. Right? It's just a matter of time. So I have to get away from the enemy. So this is one of the stages that I'm going through to create a like final boss. I haven't added any states yet, but this episode is totally showing you guys about shader graphs and telling you guys how important it is, because important it is for your game to have some visual effects. So in this stream, I'm going to be creating a particle effects. So I already have a particle effect for my coffee consumable. So if I go ahead, like forward in the level, I'm sorry, I should maximize that. Let me just disable this portal like right now. And you might be thinking, why do we have a portal? Because that's how our first level starts up. The portal opens up and it drops off the player, and then that's how you get into the level. So if I go ahead forward, and if I pick up the coffee consumable, uh, okay, there is a trap here. I think Fadi will cover that in his part, and there are moving platforms here. I think Fadi, did I disable? All right, so here it is, right? If I consume the coffee, you might see there's a trail here that indicates that you have a power up activated, and it lasts about the time. It lasts about 10 seconds. So it's a visual representation to tell the player that you have a consumable activated. That means your movement speed is increased. So we're trying to do something like that, but for our damage power up. So we right now we don't have any effects for our damage power up. So today we'll be doing that. So without wasting any time, I'll just go ahead and create my shader graph here. I'm going to go ahead and start with a blank shader graph. I'm going to call this power up. And once I'll open that up. So this is how this is how a shader graph looks like. You have a bunch of graphs. You have a bunch of nodes here, and to begin with, I need to do some settings, change some settings here. I'm gonna make that unlit, and I want my particles to be transparent. So first things first, we need a texture for our particle system, because I need some kind of effect that shows the player that, okay, you have this power up activated. So I'm going to create a texture, and I'm going to call that main texture, right? And then I'm going to drag my texture in, and I'll make a node. I'm going to call this. So each texture needs to be sampled before I can inject it into the particle. And then all I'm going to do is take this node here and connect it to the base, and I'll just connect it to the alpha here, alpha of this. And we also need a color, so we can manually change how our particles look like. So I'm going to drag the color into, and I'm going to make this a completely white, and I'm going to change the mode to HDR so that way we can add some glow effect to the particle. So I'm going to create a multiply node here, and I'm going to take the output of my texture and take this and put this here. So right now, as you can see that in our main preview here at the bottom right corner, you can see how the particle will actually look like, and it's just a white circle. That's because we haven't selected any texture yet. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the default particle that comes in with every Unity project. So everyone is going to have this, right? And so just to show you guys how this will look like, I'm going to minimize this and go back into my scene. And on my player, I'm going to add an effect called particle system, and I'm going to call this power up. And you can see that there are particles spawning, but it's way in the background. So I need to sort the layer out so it spawns in front of the player, or at least behind the player, but in front of the background and all that stuff. So if I go ahead and right click on my shader and create a material for this, and let's call this power up material. Uh, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this onto my, so you can see that this is how it will look like. You can see some particles spawning in behind the player. But since our game is pixel art, I want these particles to be pixelized. I want that to be pixelized. So that's what we're going to do here. So in our graph settings, I may have to check this box up, and I want to control the color of the particles through my inspector. So I'm going to create a vertex color, and this will be going to be into a multiply node. I'm going to move this to make a bit of space here. Okay. And the output of my multiply will go over here, and then I can just do this here. All right, so I think we're set for this parts. All right, so now we can move on to actually making it pixelized here. And we're going to start with the UV node. So we're going to connect the UV node to, I think we need a floor node for this. Uh, and then just a second, I think floor node is being multiplied here. UV is multiplied. Okay. So we need so to control. I'm really sorry, guys, if I'm going back and forth here. It might seem confusing. So I need a value. Let's call this bits to control the number of pixels that I want in my particle, right? And I'm going to take this up, and by default, I'm going to set it to 8, and I'll just take this and create a multiply node here, and one will be the bits and the output. Wait a second. So this will go here, and this will go to floor. Yeah. So now you can see that if I increase the number of bits here or decrease it, or let's just make it 2. So you see that it's pixelized now, right? So I want this effect to, and the output, of course, I can just connect it to my UV. And obviously right now you won't see anything because we need some other nodes to fix that for us. Right now you might see some dots here, but that's not what we want. So what other nodes do we want here? And we're going to divide it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a divide node here. And I'm going to connect the output of this, and I'm just going to divide it by the number of bits I have. So now you see that it actually looks like a pixelized version of. So now you see that our particle is pixelized, but it's not centered. You see it's a bit offset, so we can fix that with tiling and offset node. And I'm just going to move this to give us a bit of space. The bits is here, divide is here. I'm going to take the output of this and put it to UV, and I'll divide this by the number of bits we have, right? So the output needs to go here, and There is a offset here, which okay. So I'm gonna bring up a divide node, and I'm gonna take this the number of bits that we have and connect this to the offset. So now if I change the value here, let's make it 0.5. Okay, it doesn't change much. So let's make it 0.8. No, 0.2, 0.1. Why is it not? Is it divide or multiply? 0.45. 0.45. No, 0.5. I need to find the exact value that it's. I think it's going to be 0.3539. Four. All right, see, so it's centered now. And I'm going to save this asset and go back to my game, and you can see that now my particles have changed. They're pixelized. And the good thing about this is that I can control the number of bits from here. So if I want to increase the bits, I can increase the number of pixels I have in my particles, right? So I want this to be an effect that tells the player, okay, you have this power of activated. So I'm going to rotate this to. I have some comments here. This is so cool. Justice Crash looks really good. Thank you guys so much. And I'm gonna rotate this to 90 degrees. Oh, minus 90 degrees. So it's like coming up from the ground, and we can adjust the size here. Let's start with the lifetime constant between two values, and I want this to last between 0.1 second and 0.5 seconds. I think yeah, that's okay. Start speed, 0.1 and 1.5. You might see that some of the particles are spawning in front of the player. We need to fix that too. All right, so now all the particles are behind him, behind her actually. And we also, what do we need next? Might want to increase the speed a bit. Let's make this 1.5 and let's make this 1. All right, then we need to change the size. Right now they look a bit too big, and 0.3 and 0.5. Yeah, that looks good. Emission, I'm going to increase the number of particles here, and the shape right now it's a cone, so I'll change the shape to a box, and then so this way it will look like the player is emitting these particles. So this looks a bit better. And what else do we have here? I'm going to keep the color to white because I'm going to apply gradient later on. So let's velocity over lifetime. Let's do that. All right, now it looks like they're speeding up. So they spawn, and then as they move up, the speed, the velocity increases, right? And then we can go ahead to, let's go color over time, and I'm going to choose a starting color here. I want it to be red in the beginning, and then as it goes on, it can pick up a yellowish color like this, something that shows like, okay, it's that damage, your double damage is activated or something like that. Okay, so we haven't applied the glow effect yet, and that you can achieve by increasing the intensity here. So now they're glowing, but again, I need to decrease the size of them because it's a bit too big. No, wait a minute. That wasn't the size. Okay, let's do this. This looks good enough. And what else do we have? I think that's pretty much it for the. I mean, we can go ahead and set up. We can increase the number of particles that I want for my. Let's make it 40. Is it 40? I think 35 was good enough. 35 is good enough, yeah. What else? I think we don't have. So I want this particle to be activated only when I consume a power up. So that means this one will be associated with with the level up when my damage is increased. So I'm going to go ahead and in the script of my player where I'm actually increasing the attack damage, which is in my combat script here. I'm going to make a public game object. I'm going to call this power up effect. And in this start, I want this to be disabled in the beginning. So whenever you start up the game, it's going to be disabled, so you won't see it. So when my damage increases, I want the power up effect to be visible. So I'm just gonna. It's very simple to enable and disable stuff through code. So actually, anyone could do this. And when I'm going back to my when the duration has finished, which is 10 seconds, I will just deactivate or disable the effect. So let that save up and refresh. And my combat script has now a game object that says power. I'm going to drag in, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to spawn in a level up here in front of the player so I can grab it and consume it. So I'm going to take a level up and I'm going to spawn it here. There is some. That's not. So there you go. There is a level up. And as you can see that I don't have that enabled in the beginning. So when I consume, right, it starts shooting these particles up in the sky. I mean, from the player, and it tells the player that your damage is and after 10 seconds it goes away. So that's how this works, guys. Using particle system of Unity and shader graphs, we can come up with all sorts of cool looking things that you can improve the visual of your game, just like this portal we have here. And I'm really looking forward to creating much more things from shader graphs. Just for example, fire or water, whatever things you want for your game, it can be done using shader graphs. So this is just a beginning. This is like one simple thing that I did with the graphs, right? But I'm pretty much there's no limitation. You can just probably mess around with these values and with the particle system and come up with even better looking effects. So I might have to tweak some values there to make it look even more better off screen. But I think that gives you guys an idea on how shader graphs and all that stuff works. So I'll just go ahead and push this update. Wait, before pushing, I need to save this. I'll go ahead and disable my portal, and I'll save this. And I'll go ahead and push this update so that Fadi can begin his part of the stream here. I'm going to push this door in. All right, Fadi, I just pushed it. I think you should be having the update, the latest one.
Oh,
Did you get the update?
yeah, just fetch it and opening in Unity.
Okay, Fadi will go ahead and share his screen and Sure, you got. Sure, you got. Did you join in from the next new browser, the way it's supposed to be?
Which new browser?
I mean, to share your screen, you have to join in from a new browser, right?
Not from using the.
Mm, that's what I'm saying him. He has to join in from a new browser. Just join the same meeting with a new browser, and
Oh, okay.
instead of sharing your camera and mic, just do it with the. Just share your screen over there.
Okay.
The animation of the portal actually looks good. Thank you, Basil Salah. Thank you. That means so.
I can't open from here because I need to install a new browser.
What do you mean? Just a new a tab of Chrome, just a new window of Chrome?
You don't mean a new type of browser?
No, just a new window of Chrome.
Okay, 1 second.
But guys, do you have any comments or questions that you can ask, and I'll be happy to talk to you guys. Layan, thank you so much, Layan. Yeah, not cooler than your game, I guess. No, we're trying to keep up with you guys because you guys show so much cool stuff, and then our streams are kind of like boring now because compared to your, I mean, you're probably stealing all our viewers. Thank you, Basil. That's what I was saying, because the portal needs to be there, that because that's how our level will start up, and once the player drops in, and then you can start playing the level. So we'll have like a dialogue scene in the beginning, where you have to, where we'll tell you what's going on and what's the story and what you're supposed to do in this level, and then from there you'll have an idea on what you're supposed to achieve or complete in the level. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, you can see my screen. Okay. Okay. So until it shows to you guys, first off, cool stuff from Ajaz. I will be explaining, of course, stuff that aren't cool, but it will be
It's important,
bit,
for the.
yeah, I will make your life in the game miserable. I'll put some traps, move some platforms to make it more challenging.
Mhm.
Okay. So, as I just showed you guys, these are the traps that will be put in the game, and the platforms. I don't think that I just showed you moving.
Go back into the scene view. You can show them the moving in the scene view.
In the scene.
Yeah, see, it's
Okay. So here, I'll show you guys how to move those platforms. So first, to put the traps, we'll be using the trap background for it, and we're using the same thing for the ground, the tile palette. Yeah. So at first we thought of putting the traps like into the ground, but after some attempts, we thought of, okay, so we don't need that much of holes in the in the ground, and we're using the like we're putting the traps above the ground, so it would look more visible, I think, for the players. So also we'll be using the artifacts. Are they in the game, Ajaz?
Well, no. We
Sorry.
haven't.
Okay.
I asked for
Uh,
some, but he didn't send me. So
no problem. So I was going to also use the artifacts, or show you guys the artifacts that we'll be using in that level. Uh,
in the next stream, inshallah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned that for those also. Um, so I won't bore you guys with adding each trap, but as we're going through, we'll
You
see
should
more. Yeah,
you should do it in a strategic way, because if you go back, right, I've placed some traps, right. If you
yeah,
go back to the beginning where the first trap is, yeah, it's
yeah,
right here, right. It's,
yeah, yeah,
so if you zoom in here, so here, if you the player has to jump before the trap, right.
yeah.
So
So he'll do
he has to make a long jump with dash,
dash.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if he goes too far, he will land on the trap which is on the next platform, right? And he
Mm,
cannot come to the edge, so he has to do it in a way that, so we're trying to trap them so that they will lose their HP, And this trap is
yeah,
not an instant kill thing, so I think that's how you should place the traps.
yeah, yeah. It also bounces you off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you,
So
you
you will
keep
know.
bouncing off of it.
And
Yeah,
right now it's too hard to see the trap with the background that we have.
yeah, yeah,
So I'll try to make them glowy
yeah.
trap.
So, yeah, I was going to tell you. But I think adding traps, like it would benefit the player of, okay, like I need to keep using the jump and the dash more often,
Hmm.
even till he reaches the mini boss or the boss, like because he will. I think the player needs to keep using the space and dash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, I'll add more traps throughout the level.
There is a question in the chat. Did you
Yeah,
think about using like a reward system, like a power up, a healing for people who reach a deep point into the level? So we are assuming that by the time you reach to the deep point, you will have enough gold. So there is an item shop right before the main boss fight, and
yeah,
you can use your gold to purchase consumables and armor if you want to upgrade your armor. And there are some enemies which we have put in the middle of the map or something, which if you kill
yeah,
them you will get some random consumables. It may
mm,
be a date or a damage power up or a level up or something.
yeah. As for the reward stuff, like if you continued exploring, because as you can see here, there are different paths. Like you can continue moving either downward or upward, where you will find the artifact, which will help you uh, in adding damage or health, or even both. It depends on how easy it is to find. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
And you will also get to discover different artifacts.
yeah. Uh, so another thing that I added for you guys to notice, for example, if you are in here in that place and you don't know where to go, a tip for you guys is to see any tree under you that will help you. So you find the tree here, or the branches, I mean. Oh, so I need to go down.
There is a ground below me, right? That's a
Yeah.
nice way of telling them, yeah.
So even here, because some some places, if there is no tree and you think, oh, maybe I'll fall down, no, you will die. But I placed those trees for you guys to check, oh, there is a ground below me, I need to go down.
You should put a trap there so when they come down, they'll jump, fall on the trap.
Yeah, maybe. Let,
Uh,
depends on how evil it is.
yeah, exactly. Because apart from the enemies, the level also has to be difficult to cross, right?
Yeah,
It shouldn't just be running around.
yeah. So,
The tree mechanism is kind of helpful, actually. Yeah, but don't fall for that trick because sometimes we'll have a.
yeah, now we thought of that idea. We'll place.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, but another thing that if when continuing throughout the level, as you can see here, at that point you will find that's the dungeon. Yeah, I'll have to remove the gaps between those grounds because since you are in the dungeon, there is no like
Holes in the
yeah,
ground.
there is no holes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So for the ground, you see here it differs from the sunny level part. It's because like it shows the background reflects on the color of the ground, which also will change after like when continuing here. You will find also enemies, traps. I'll have to fill those up since we agreed on placing the traps above the ground. And also, we will be changing the platforms the same color as the ground. And reaching to this part, which is the mini boss, here you will find more rewards and also more consumables for the player to continue out throughout the level. Uh, I think we will maybe either use like checkpoints for the player or lives. Like if each time he loses his health, he'll either go back to the checkpoint or we'll have him collect extra lives for him to continue from that part where he dies. Uh, Another thing that is after you finish from the dungeon, the ground color will also change, and also the color of the platforms to I think we have them as blue.
For the night.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
since also the background color will reflect on the ground here. So for the moving platforms, I'll show you guys how to do it. Like for example, this one we'll have to duplicate. And for example, if I want this platform to move horizontally as it was used here, you will place it and erase the ground behind it. So here you will find this platform that I just added, moving from left to right, and vice versa for the player to time it and to reach. This is vertical.
No, no, you didn't set the.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It went back to its place.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so for its position, we have it at X.
No. You selected the wrong thing. If you in the hierarchy, you have to select
Oh,
the
okay.
whole object. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So its position, we have it at 203. So we'll make the start position for it at that point.
Do you want this to move like vertical or horizontal?
Horizontal.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So that means the y values will be same.
yeah, well, values will be same. Just here.
You need to give the second position.
Yeah. And if you wanted to move like from here to here, yeah, I think it would be better. We'll copy that second position here. I think the start will be the same as position 1, right?
Yeah, you can keep it as same as position 1.
Yeah. So from that, after saving, yeah. So as you can see here, you have to time it as exactly when it reaches here, and then
Jump on the
yeah, you can jump on either this platform or this one and continue your exploration. Uh,
checkpoints sounds better than a health, though, because repeating a level after a death is brutal for the player. That's
yeah,
what we want. We want you to play it over and over again. So you can collect all the artifacts, and you can at least explore the whole level. You know.
yeah, because like there is many rewards
Yeah.
out of the main road for the player. So if you went like even if for example you went to the upper level and you want to collect any rewards that's in for the on the ground level, for example, you can go back and I think also we need this one as a moving platform. So you can reach at this part and also continue getting rewards from each place, and you become much powerful than the
And
final boss.
yeah, and also don't if you keep dying, just don't fall for the same traps again and again.
Yeah. Um, so as for the artifacts, like you will find them, like for example, what artifacts we had?
I think we have the flag, the Emirati flag.
Yeah,
We have dagger. We have the dirham
yeah,
coin. The
yeah,
we have I think the something with the pearl diving artifact. There is a pearl diving artifact.
yeah. So these artifacts are very similar to you guys. Uh, like you've seen them before in UAE. So that'd be like an Easter egg. Oh, you see an artifact. Oh, I
Yeah,
know that artifact. It's
and when you collect, it's like it will pop up and small information about the artifacts that will
yeah,
tell you, oh, this is this. This is to signify the moment when UAE was the leading in pearl diving business.
yeah. So each time you explore throughout the map, the more you know about UAE, and also receive more upgrades for your character.
Yeah, and I think we should place the artifacts chronologically because to show what artifacts were there in the beginning when UAE was starting to build. And
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah,
yeah, so we
yeah,
should put the flag in the end when the seven emirates were actually formed and all that. So
mhm.
that shows the time, the journey the UAE took.
Yeah. We can. Yeah, that's much better. We can do that.
And as for the checkpoints, I think when you're fighting the final boss, right, and you die, you couldn't beat him, we'll give you an option to revive yourself. and it will be like a multiple choice question, which will have a question depending on the level or if any artifact that you have missed or you've collected. For example, it could say that how many colors does the UAE flag have, and if you answer that correctly, you will get a chance to re-enter the battle without having to do the entire level again.
Yeah,
So we also want you to learn about UAE, so that's a good way of teaching people.
yeah, that's true. So here also in the night time you will find also different paths, different items you may find, also different enemies. Each time it will get harder as soon as you reach the final boss, which will be at that last part here. And also we will add some cool effects like what Ajas did. So
Yeah,
so it will be more epic. Like, oh, this is the final boss, and
it's epic.
that's yeah. And so, guys, if you have any other suggestion, questions about anything, we would love to answer you.
Okay. So, guys, if you have any questions, please do let us know in the comment section. And also, thank you guys so much for joining in today. I
Yeah,
was really excited to show you guys the shader graphs. The thing is that we showed you the shader graphs for 2D, and you might want to hang on and watch the next stream, which is right after this. Kutban team, they'll be showing you shader graphs in 3D. So even I'm excited. I'm gonna watch that stream because I need to
yeah, same.
yeah, I need to look, what, because 3D brings up a whole new level, and stuff looks good in 3D. That's why it takes time to build and all that stuff. But really, stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, please do let us know because we're running out of time here, and we'll be streaming next week again on Monday and Tuesday. And please make sure to check those out too. Next stream will not be about Sherigraph. It will be boring as we'll be doing some programming, and maybe Fateh will show up some. Maybe we'll do some artifact placements and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it would be
So
a lot cool, even an easier way for you guys to reach those places faster than anybody who doesn't know about the game. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So stay tuned for that. If you guys don't have any questions, then we will be happy to end the stream here. And thank you so much again for joining us. And yes, we'll see you again next week.
thank you, guys. See you.
Goodbye, guys. Goodbye. Take care. Have a good night.